Alrighty, Pisces, it is your turn. I just got a little nervous. I'm going to use the fairy oracle because, Pisces fairies, it makes sense to me. Um, but this time I'm going to attempt to not use the book. So we're going to go off of vibes. Oh, gosh. Okay. We're going to go off of vibes. And I'll use other cards to help me if I need it. And we'll see where it flows. We'll see where it flows and we'll see where it goes. It's been a few days since I last did Zodiac, and I don't want to not finish the series. So I figured you would get me into a Pisces today. No book today, so I'm gonna set that off to the side, and we're just gonna get right into it. I still feel nervous. Well, it's a flutter. I feel a flutter in my stomach, and it's not like a butterfly, but it isn't not a butterfly either. So there's some excitement. Oh goodness, it's indie. I got two of them. Indie is one. As I've been flipping through the book, I've been seeing indie a lot. Bottom of the deck is the Green Woman. Oh, okay, Pisces. With ecstasis under that. Doing? How are you? How are you? I'm trying to find where I put this thing so I can. It's fine. I'll just set these here. I'll set them here. I might go to the Witch's Tarot. There's a lot of green here. Oh, okay. I get it. That kind of makes sense. There's a lot of green here. And what's interesting about all the green is like, it's the color of the heart space, the heart chakra, right? But there's also like these super magic-y, I mean, they're fairies. But it feels like it's the magic of the heart or something like that. 6'3", 63 is a 9, 57 is a 12, which is a 3, 23 is a 5. So that breaks the mold, but Green Woman's technically at the bottom of the deck, so she doesn't count. She does, but she doesn't. But she's green. She's our color. So with indie, it feels like indie it has an energy of offering realities in these bubbles, in these spheres. And then there's also an element of connection because something pours into or comes out of the crown there. And then there's this one. It feels like this one is preferred over this one. Now, it does make me think of, because this one is larger than this one, but it almost brings in the question of perspective. Indie's also in the dark. It's a light in the dark. It also feels like there's something, it almost feels like it's surfacing. Because in Indie, like, look what Indie is standing on. And then in, what is this? Luathas, the wild, Luathas. Luathas. Now it has a face. And in the Green Woman, it feels like something is like coming up within the three of these. And the green woman, like you can see what it is in its entirety, and it looks like it's a green dragon, some kind of leafy dragon elemental thing. All right, Pisces. Pisces is gonna make me work for it today. This one is throwing me off. I almost wonder if these two are these two. And that's just because the green woman is sticking her tongue out at me. Like she's making fun of me. For not being, because I'm like, because this, I feel like this makes sense. These two, less so. Okay, so it just feels like, because it looks like these are leaves or whatever. So I'm going to take this to be the embodiment of the experience. Um, so it's very like, it's earth, but it's the personification of life, and not life in the way of like um, life in the way of like living, like how we live our lives. Like, when people say life isn't fair or life is like this or life is that, it's like that. Not like the element of life or like life itself. Not like, life is the trees and the rivers and oceans and streams. It's the butterflies and the fish. Like, no, not that. Because it almost feels like this is Pisces creating a dream world, but then this is life like getting in the way. Or it's like, some kind of hold that life has where it's like you are trying, let's say, like you're trying to manifest abundance, and then you get an unexpected expense, right? And so that unexpected expense brings in that element where life is like every time you try to do something, something happens. It's like the Murphy's Law aspect of life. And so it can chip away at you a little bit, basically. I'm trying to position this so that you can see the cards, but it isn't um, like a huge glare. Let me turn it down a little because the camera will adjust, as you can see. And maybe that's a metaphor for this. Because no matter, I mean, there are limits, right? But if I turn the camera up, if I turn the light up, the camera will adjust. If I turn the light down, again, the camera will adjust. No matter how I sort of do this, the camera is always almost like taking it back to some kind of set point. So it feels like this would be indie in this situation, or this would be Pisces, this would be life, sort of like trying to pin you down. I don't know what deck to use. I don't know what deck to use for this to keep going. I don't know where this goes. I could just end this at Pisces. Be like the rest will unfold. Well, Pisces, look at this, and then I'll come back. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be shady, I promise, but it makes me think of that one Virgo read that Reem did, where she was like, "This is what I got, Virgo. Sit with this, see what you channel, and then we'll revisit this in like a week or whenever the time feels right. I'm trying to think of everything I have. Let's see. Oof. I got the camera is blocking the desk today, so I want to pull the before tarot to see what the experience has been like before. Can you see my little arm? Well, my arm isn't that little. Reaching. Hey Zada, how you doing? Here we go. Oh, and it's the one I need. Nice. I'm gonna use the before tarot. I wanted to use. I'll use it. The Tarot of Dreams, because not the Tarot of Dreams, the Mystical Dream Tarot for you Pisces, because again, it makes sense. I'm going to use the mystical dream to almost sort of symbolize what it is that either you have your sight set on, what's catching your attention, or what you're trying to bring into the world. And then I'm going to use the before tarot to sort of like to be life. Because it's more so what life has been up until this point. Because it's what life has been that gets us to um, perceive it sort of interacting or interfering in the way that it has. But it's heart magic, whatever it is. Ooh, can you see these decent shuffles? Oh, well, that was a less decent shuffle. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and pull this one first. Hold up. It's, oh, gosh, no. No. I'm trying to, like, get into a little flow. There we go. We'll take that one. Is this? Oops. It's the Seven of Wands. Bottom of the deck is the Dreamer of Wands. There we go. Now it's shuffling. Okay. We'll keep this one face down. Bottom of the deck is the Four of Cups. And it shows the three fates and their mother. Or the three fates and some mysterious other woman. Clotho, Atropos, and Lachesis. Clotho spins the yarn. Atropos cuts it. Lachesis measures it. And we're going to see what life is up to. Oh, look, there's a King of Cups. That's not before. I don't know why I thought it was a Four of Cups. I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. I'm kind of like not super paying attention to the chat because it's taken all the little bit of brain I have to try to figure out what is going on with Pisces. These are some decent shuffles today. The Knight of Swords. Oof. The reason why I say oof for the Knight of Swords is because the Knight of Swords holds a sword. Here we got the Fates. Oh, look. And then there's the Spirit of Swords. I think that's the king. Um, because in this, again, like one of the sister weaves it, one of the sisters measures it, the other sister cuts it. It feels like the Knight of Swords. I don't know if it's cutting it prematurely, and then behind the Knight of Swords is the King of Cups, the one that I like showed earlier, because for some reason I thought it was the Four of Cups. Oh, there's a Five of Wands. I feel like Rob's been getting the Five of Wands and the Light Seers. Well, I know he has been, but I didn't watch the um, full stag moon reading. Okay. So this is interesting because already in the before with the on the outside or life with the King of Wands here, it almost feels like life has been trying to put you in a position of like self confidence, a healthy sense of pride and ego, bravery. Like, it's like it fills your head with all of these things that you could do, like passion overload. But at the same time, it feels like it never quite fully allows you to take that wand because every time you reach for it, it's like a whole bunch of stuff happens that comes in it. Maybe like it competes for your attention, or it's like you find yourself in competition every time there is something that you want to do. And it almost feels like it's teasing you a little bit, which is why it feels like that's why the King of Wands looks so annoyed. Because it's like it keeps bringing this wand, it keeps bringing the wand, but every time he reaches for it, it feels like it gets pulled away. Now, the Two of Pentacles being the last card, it signifies how it's always out of reach or how it's previously felt like it was always out of reach. But in some weird way, it feels like it's trying to teach you something or show you something. Maybe it's trying to get you to move somewhere. I mean, it doesn't necessarily work out if you end up like getting frustrated and you give up or whatever. So, you know what I mean? What's interesting though, Seven of Wands, Dreamer of Wands, King of Wands, Five of Wands, Two of Pentacles. So there's a lot of fire here. We have the Four of Cups down here. And then the Knight of Swords. I don't know if it's prematurely coming to or trying to end something. But it feels like, I mean, I would be tempted to say that like it doesn't get pulled away from you. The wand doesn't get pulled away from you every time you reach for it as some kind of cruel, senseless, pointless joke that just continues to go on and on and on ad infinitum. Again, it feels like there is some kind of purpose or reason behind it. And I think it's an indie. Indie itself shows us what this purpose is because it feels like it's always smaller. It feels like it's always in this small orb, or even in like that little spark of light right there. If that was an even smaller one. Oops. Oh goodness, I just hit the camera. It almost feels like the universe life is trying to get you to dream bigger, or it's trying to get you to like a grander stage or something. On one hand, it also feels like in this there is some kind of, it's almost like it can teach you how to like put effort into realizing the dream, right? Because like Pisces can get the vision, Pisces can live in the vision, but that doesn't necessarily bring it into reality. And so it feels like, again, for anything that you would want to bring forward, maybe it's almost like making space for it too. Like you would have to clear out space for whatever it is. And sometimes the space that you clear out is within yourself. Like sometimes, like let's say like there's a dark night, or there's a healing, there's a purge, there's something. And so there's like a trigger that you work through, so that when you come upon certain things, like you don't get triggered in the same ways anymore. You release the trigger, you work through the trigger, and you release it, because there's some aspect of the dream that you created, and that it's like you created and you're creating, and that you were sort of given. It feels like it all, like with the three sisters, it feels like it all sort of works together. But there's some aspect in there that it's almost like as you are, it would be a roadblock that would be very difficult for you to overcome. And so I almost wonder too if this isn't a very clever way to sort of get you somewhere that you would have a lot of hesitation. It's either like you would have a lot of hesitation, or maybe like you wouldn't believe in yourself enough to actually do it. Like you wouldn't believe that you can do it, but you can do it. Maybe that's why the King of Wands is here, to try to help you stop like selling yourself short, or whatever you need to do to make that dream a reality. That's what this is about. But with the Five of Wands, it's not very easy. I mean, because sometimes dreaming is easier than actually doing the thing. So, the Seven of Wands on this side, with the Dreamer of Wands, is interesting. I think if Pisces is the fish and the Dreamer of Wands, then this is almost about Pisces sort of like handing off the dream to someone else. Or it's like Pisces comes up with a blueprint, Pisces lets someone else know in hopes that they go and do whatever for Pisces. But then it feels like the bird might tell the person, it feels like, again, it plays on this. It ends up working out where it's like, well, Pisces has to go and do it itself. And this Seven of Wands feels like the big orb. Um, it feels like that's the space. This is the thing that houses all of those dreams and so on. The Spirit of Cups. Hey, there's our water. Yeah, see, because it's almost like there's something within you that needs to change. Again, it's this, but it's not. I would say it's not a straightforward process. Um, but what challenge or difficulty sort of is. It feels like the Knight of Swords is trying to cut out early. The Four of Cups, like this thing, it's already sort of planned out. And that's why the Green Woman is sort of here sticking her tongue out. Because it feels like, I don't know if it feels like it's intentionally made to be difficult. It's almost like if life were a person. It's almost the feeling like, is this person like just trying to be difficult? Like every time I say we should do this, they say that we should do the opposite. Every time I this, they that. It's like there's never any cooperation. But that's the thing about the fairies, at least in this deck. It feels like a lot of times there's something that is hidden or there's something that is unseen. There's something that is shown, but it's not spoken. Or there's something that is seen, but it's not given the right context to put it into the proper perspective. And so it feels like it's very easy to miss something. And according to this, like it looks like life knows that there is more than even you can dream of. And so in some way it's not going to let you settle. It almost feels like if you, I mean, what can I pull to see what would happen if you sort of cut out early? Um, I got some decks here. I'll use the Witch's Tarot because this is one of the decks I immediately thought of when Indy came out. I thought I grabbed it. I really thought I grabbed the Witch's Tarot. I know I grabbed it. Oh, it's literally right here. Literally. Ooh, Shadow Side. Not the cut. Look at these good shuffles. Hey, let's go. Ten of Swords with the Shadow Side. So what happens if Pisces cuts out early? I'm sticking out. Ace of Pentacles. Three of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck. The Eight of Cups. Three of Pentacles. Empress behind that. Hey, 33. And look, there's the Seven of Wands again. The Seven of Wands, especially in this deck, it's my pre-strength card. Or minor strength, sorry. It's minor strength. And I think the Knight of Wands is pre-strength. Which might, I don't know if the Dreamer is the page or if the Spirit is the page. I don't remember in this deck. It's like with the Ace of Pentacles and this Eight of Cups, it's almost like it'll always be a dream. But it feels like it'll always be a dream because there's. So the thing about this Ace of Pentacles is it's hovering above the ground, right? It's like floating in the air or something. So there's nothing to ground this pentacle into reality. But the energy of this Ace of Pentacles, this is life. This is the energy of life, but it's not this life. This is the energy that wasn't this one. Like, this is the life force that flows through the trees and the grass. And it's like the grass is eaten by the rabbit, and the rabbit is eaten by the hawk. And then, I don't know, it's like the food chain, right? And with this Eight of Cups, with her like looking at the stars, it feels like it's always disconnected. I've never noticed. I have never in my life. I've had this deck. This was the technically the third deck I got, but I got my first two decks at the same time. I've had this deck since late 2018. I've never noticed the dolphin. The dolphin coming up out of the water. Never noticed that dolphin before. Ever. And I literally just saw this card not too long ago. It feels like on one hand this isn't grounded, but on the other hand it's the element of life. And again, it feels like that's almost like the hidden unseen thing behind the fairies, because it feels like as we continue to go through this, maybe it's actually connecting us deeper to the essence of what life truly is outside of just how we experience it. So, what is to happen if Pisces allows it to go to fruition? Okay, that's a lot. I saw the Nine of Cups, Temperance. Love that. Bottom of the deck is the Six of Swords and the King of Swords. King of Swords. There it is. King of Swords, Spirit of Swords. But then the Tower is under that. You know what I love about Temperance coming out for this is it's all the fire that's here. It feels like Temperance, because again, there's something here about like getting a deeper understanding or potentially missing a deeper understanding by trying to shortcut whatever this process is. Because we do have choice, there is free will, right? And it's like there are things that can be strongly suggested, but at the end of the day, we can always choose to not do whatever or to do whatever we want to. We can always choose to endlessly delay and procrastinate until the end of our life, basically. And then it's like we make it our whole life without doing the thing or whatever. But it feels like Temperance would be, if we continue on the path, it's like we'll understand how all this fire translates to the water. And then with the Six of Swords and the King of Swords, I think it'll ground this Ace of Pentacles. Because I see the tree in the back, and then like the yellow of his cloak or whatever sort of matches the pentacle in the sky. But it feels like it's sitting, because like he's out in the earth, but he has like this open air castle, or he's like outside, but it's this open air castle. It's just this like random throne in the middle of at least, I mean, there's a few trees. I'm not gonna say in the middle of the woods. But it feels like this is the understanding. And I feel like this is evidenced by this green woman. So maybe this little thing that is rising and emerging is Pisces. And then it ends up in the bosom of the green woman. Um, oh, look, 63 and 23. That's the difference of 40. 40 is death. 63 to 57 is a difference of 6. 6 is the lovers. Lovers being choice. Choices, decisions. The lovers being choices that have the potential to affect our life in a very significant way for an extended period of time. Death being that transformation. So maybe there's another part of this in this. And the King of Wands, the Five of Wands, and the Two of Pentacles, it shows us where we have choice, where we actually have choices. Because when life happens, a lot of times it can be easy to feel powerless to life. It can be easy to feel like we don't have choices and we don't really have options when certain situations occur. And it's like we have to make this choice in order to pay bills or in order to do whatever. But it almost feels like the Green Woman and Lothis, it's coming in with the message of you always have choice. There is always choice. There are always choices. But it doesn't necessarily do it in an easy way. And maybe that's temperance with the Six of Swords and the King of Swords. It's like the path to realizing that even when we're going through those times and moments of difficulty, because the Five of Wands is conflict, the Seven of Wands is needing to stand your ground. The King of Wands is a strong will. With the strong will coming outside, it could be the strong will of another. It can be the strong will of multiple others. And so maybe it's like there's always this person or there's always a reason why you can't do the thing that you really want to do. But at the same time, a lot of times it's being in those situations that you don't want to be in that triggers you, that causes you to dream of something better. It's like when you're experiencing what you don't want, it's so easy for you to reach out for what you do. And so another part of this journey would be to reach the point where you don't have to experience not great things to have a next step. Because I don't know if maybe like if life were good and you wouldn't have any concerns if you just kind of sort of stagnate. It's like how artists going through heartbreak, it's like it's good material for them to write in a song or put in a movie, in a book or whatever. It fuels creativity. And so maybe there's an attachment to heartache, suffering, or pain that you sort of keep around to keep you creatively fueled. And maybe it's to get to the point where you see it, but after you see the thing, then you don't you don't need to stay there. Like another reading, another way to read this could be with the Four of Cups as you're going through life, not necessarily knowing the full thing. Because in the Four of Cups, typically there's the cup that's being offered that the person isn't taking because maybe they don't see it. You don't have the full picture, the complete picture. And it feels like maybe you feel like there's something that you're missing. There's something that's, again, with the Two of Pentacles, before there's something that's always out of reach. And you keep going and you keep going and you keep going. Maybe with the Knight of Swords, that's a driving force. That actually drives you forward. Or there's some kind of realization, some kind of understanding that you have while you're in the place that you don't like. And then after you've sat in that pressure cooker for as long as you sit in the pressure cooker, something happens, and then there's the moment where you finally decide to just do it, to just go for it, to take that leap of faith, or to take a chance on yourself, to not take no for an answer. And to not take no for an answer, not in a way where you're like, forcing yourself, but it's like where you try different avenues, where you keep going, right? It's like insert famous author here whose first book was rejected by X number of publishers because they all said it wouldn't sell, but then the one that they eventually published with, it's instant overnight hit because they didn't give up on the thing. And it's almost like it could be the case where it's like instead of every time you face rejection, it chips away at your confidence, or it makes you doubt, or it makes you question. Maybe it can just, it's almost like it can convince you even the more when you believe in the thing. When you see that there's a need, or when you have that feeling that it's going to do it, that it's going to go big or whatever. And you continue until it happens. I think I was driving back home, and I don't know if I was watching a video or whatever, but I remembered push, pray until something happens. And with this temperance card, it feels like, again, it's not a straightforward path. Look at the path that the water takes to get from one cup to the other. No, it's not here. It might have been at the bottom of the deck when the first card came out. No, this was at the bottom of the deck. It might have been under that one. Let me find the card. I think it's the Eight of Cups. It's either the Eight or the Five of Cups. This one. It's the Eight of Cups. See, because it feels like it's the fish of wisdom, the golden fish of knowledge, or the salmon of wisdom or knowledge. It feels like this bird leads the lady to this fish. Because she's told it's the fish of knowledge, it knows everything. Any question you have, it can answer. And this is someone who's probably full of questions. Probably more so along the lines of like, why. It's almost like, why is life so hard? Why is it that I went through this or experienced this, or every time I try to do something, something happens? Why can't it just be easy? Why can't it just be straightforward? Why can't I just think the thought, dream the dream, and then bam, it's reality, you know? But it feels like as she goes to the fish, she's like swallowed by it. And this fish is taking her on a ride. It's taking her on a journey. Now, this is the Six of Swords. No one said that the ferryman would be a man on a boat. Maybe the ferryman is this fish. While you're chilling in its stomach, it's actually navigating you to where you need to be. But it feels like in that process, while Jonah was in the belly of the whale, something was happening, something was changing. And there's something about this environment, there's something about this situation that feels like it unlocks another level of growth. The butterfly has changed its transformation, but there's a stage between the caterpillar and the butterfly. There's the pupa, the cocoon, the chrysalis. But it feels like that chrysalis stage, like this is the cocoon. The fish is the cocoon for the woman to become the butterfly. Like this environment uniquely catalyzes something. And that's the three. Three is the catalyst in the physical, on the earthly. And then in spirit, it's 6, 5, and 2. So spirit skips what, 4 and 3 and goes right to 2. See, and then when spirit goes from the 6 of harmony to the 5 of change, we jump from our Pisces, jumps from the 3 of catalysis to the 7 of deeper knowing, unlocking a deeper knowing, deeper teachings. And then after that, spirit peters out, evens out at a 2, and we return to where we were before with the 3. We return to catalysis, but we return to that stage after having gone through that 7 expansion. So again, it feels like there's an energy of like a misconception, or there's something that we believe, Pisces, that it's like something within that belief. I don't want to use the word flawed. Something within that belief almost comes with like a caveat, or there's some kind of limiter, there's some kind of blockage within the belief. And it's almost like the spiritual cul-de-sac type of energy. It's almost like Pisces is supposed to like keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it. Pisces is supposed to fail over and over and over, to question that belief and then to work through it, adjust it, modify it, level it up, come to a deeper, truer realization, and then move forward with that. Because again, it feels like something that we're holding on to, something that Pisces is holding on to, where Pisces is detrimental to where Pisces is going. It's almost like the thing that Pisces is holding on to itself causes discord whenever Pisces tries to step into the harmony, or tries to step into a stability of a 4, at least. And again, with this imagery, it's something that's held very, very deeply, because this is the place that it takes Pisces to when it changes, or as it's changing. And look at the spirit of these, like it almost looks like a seaweedy whatever, but it makes me think of like water rods, like the rods that exist in the water, which again sort of plays into that temperance of like learning at least the balance between water and fire. And Sagittarius is co-ruled by Jupiter. But the 5 and the 7 of Wands are both Leo. First decan of Leo, second decan of Leo, or third decan of Leo. So it actually skips Sagittarius. It's Leo, Leo, and then Leo, Aries. The 6 of Wands would be Leo, Sagittarius. Leo, Sagittarius, the second decan. But again, it feels like that makes sense because Sagittarius symbolizes organized belief, like organized religion, structured belief, and philosophy. Sagittarius, higher thinking and higher learning, is like somebody else said this. And according to their tests and hypotheses, it was proven to be true some X number of years ago. And it is the right way to perceive the world if we're talking about science. Or it's the right way to conceptualize the world if we're talking about like philosophy. And so the gift of Gemini would be to get your own understanding. But Gemini is the 2, 3, and 4 of swords. Sagittarius is the 8, 9, and 10 of wands. The 8 of wands is, pretty great, but the 9 and the 10, not so much. Just like the 3 of swords isn't great. The 2 of swords can be whatever, but the 4 of swords is the best out of those. But anyway, what's interesting is though, Pisces, behind this it's the green woman. Duh. Okay. I was gonna say what's interesting is like it feels like there is an energy behind this. It's the energy that India is connected to. It's the energy that's invested in Pisces dreaming bigger. Because it almost feels like Pisces will be it's like Pisces is the foot of that energy in reality, in the world. Like Pisces gets the vision from them or is connected to them, and then they do a thing in the world to like sort of not make it happen, but to bring that idea to the world from outside, from beyond. And that's what Pisces energy is. It's from beyond. And so it exists outside. Now Sagittarius can go beyond, but it goes beyond from within out, from within the inside. And so there may be certain limitations that Sagittarius continues to sort of move forward since it originates on the inside and it reaches out. Whereas it's like Pisces isn't bound by the same things because it originates from outside. Now, that with the King of Wands, 5 of Wands, 2 of Pentacles can be a challenge. Because then it's like, well, the world never, it's like that's why life sort of never cooperates. That's almost why nothing never is what it's supposed to be, or it doesn't lend to things easily coming about. But that's sort of another piece of the learning with the King of Swords. Because without understanding how things work here, without understanding how things work in the physical, or without understanding with the Empress, wherever she was, where was she? Here she is. Wait, where did the Empress go? Well, there's the priest ring. And then there's the 10 of Wands. There's your Sagittarius and mutable fire. There's your Sagittarius. It's under your Aries. Or under your Mars with the tower. The Empress was down here at the bottom of the deck somewhere, probably before I shuffled again. But it's like without understanding how things work here, you won't be able to bring anything into the world. And if you do, it won't last very long. It's here in the Ace of Pentacles too. Because it's the Pentacle is just sort of like floating up in the air. But the Pentacle is also the force that connects everything. And it feels like, this is Pisces almost, again, in this very water, very dreamy, ethereal way, trying to sort of do whatever, but it's not, it has no or very little connection to the earth for it to be born from the earth. Or again, it's like, it's almost like earth is a hostile environment. Well, yeah, for the Pisces that this resonates with, you might find earth is a hostile environment. That's why you view life sort of in the way that you do, that it's always sort of getting in the way, or it's always like holding you down or getting, blah, 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 whatever. But it's because because earth is so hostile, there isn't much that Pisces can create that will thrive in it. Which is again why it's important to sort of like write this process through. And this, like, the green woman could be your higher self. The green woman can be the future you. The you that you become after you navigate through all the challenges and trials that you're sort of going through now. It's the you that has whatever it needs to bring its vision into reality. It's the you that can have presence and that can contribute and that can move things along. King of Wands, King of Swords, King of Cups. Only king that's not here is the King of Pentacles. And that's what this is about, is trying to get you to that King of Pentacles sort of space. Because it's like the Pentacle needs all of the elements to survive. The Pentacle pulls from the fire, it pulls from the air, it pulls from the water. But just having an understanding of Wands, air, or just having an understanding of fire, water, and air doesn't necessarily grant you the same level of understanding in the earth. And it can be frustrating if you have those understandings, but it never quite works out. But again, like, that's what life teaches you. Life teaches us how to live life. Life teaches us how to be here. We just sort of have to be flexible enough to learn. So there you go, Pisces. This is this is what it is. It was what it was. Oh, see, look, here's another one. Another king that is, the thing is out of reach. But if you go through the process, the King of Swords is holding the sword. The sword is the air that is born from the interaction of water and fire. So it's almost like first you get the sword, first you take up the sword, and then you learn something about these, or you take up the cup and the wand at the same time. When you take up the cup and the wand at the same time, while holding the sword and living life, it's almost like with the sword, the cup, and the wand all in hand. As you observe life, the understanding will just sort of like come to you. You'll just see how everything like clicks and sort of makes sense. But this super detached, super ethereal, super dreamy energy, it's not necessarily going to get things to bloom. It might get you a bud, It might get you, it might get something to germinate. It might get it to pop up. But it won't necessarily, it doesn't provide enough nourishment to get it to flourish and thrive and grow, really. They do. All right, well, thank y'all for being here. Hey, Matt, I hope you're doing well. I will catch y'all the next time I catch you. I hope you have a good whenever you see this. I hope you're acting in alignment to make all that you wish to experience your reality. And whatever it is that you're learning, I hope it isn't too rough.